So the Mice is so there is a stira. There's a stira like this. You're learning all the time at the beginning of the Maimer that there's Neshama is the ban, Neshama is the man, Neshama is the Atzilus, Neshama is the Bia, and then the Rebbe Rashab legt zu that the Rebbe Rashab legt zu that the Neshama is the Atzilus is called Adam. That two Pchanas Neshama are called Zera Adam and Zera Behema. That Atzilus is called Adam. What's the ufta that Atzilus is called Adam? That Adam is Adam Elyon. Adam Elyon. So the Nesif we understand Mitzad Atzmei. That Tzilis is a Lakus, is that the Inyan of a Lakus were Nizgale. But the Pashas, which Inyan of a Lakus were Nizgale, if you use the Dugma the Nefesh Adam, just to say B'Ktsara, there is the Pshitas HaNefesh, the Etz HaNefesh which is higher than Tzir. Then there is the Keiches HaNefesh, which are Inyanim of Tzir, Seichel, Midas, which are Inyanim of Pratis, the Inyanim of Tzir. So the Keiches HaNefesh are not like the Levushin, like Masheva Diva Ramaise, which that is not an expression, and that's not, it's not Inyanim Nafshim. A person could think 2 plus 2 is 6. It's not that it's nothing to do with the person. Mashiach, we speak about the seichel of the nefesh or the regesh of the nefesh. So that's something that's the nefesh expressed itself through seichel. That's keches and that's keches nafshi. But that the parshat dvarim keches nefesh is only connects with the b'chinas atzir of the nefesh. Mashiach, the pshitas nefesh is not expressed through the keches. In seichel is a kech nafshi, but seichel you only have the chitzenius nefesh, the keches nefesh. Adam lekter to adam elyon. That the keres nefesh also bring out the pshitas of the nefesh. We spoke about this last time a little bit. That through the keres nefesh you could have a certain insight kaviyachol in the pshitas of nefesh, in the mehusa nefesh. Al derez you speak about lamayla without adding this idea that adam is adam, that tzilis is p'chinas adam adam le'elyon. So then the avana is that the uftu vatzilis over bia is that bia is a metzias nifred outside of alakos nivraim. Mashiach Atzilis is this galus of the Inyanim of Elokus. The Eibush is Chachma, the Eibush is Bina, the Eibush is Gvura. But that's all the Elokus is verbunden mit Tzir. Kaviyachol, the way the Eibush reveals himself in specific mouths, in certain produce the Kenyanim. But the Eibush is Pshitas, the Insof Elokus, that's not expressed through Spheres. Because through Spheres are the Elokus in Slavish and Kalim, Elokus in Slavish and Tzir. And Malik to Adam Adam Elyon is that Atzilis is this galus of Elyon of the Einsof of Elokus, of the Blig Vol, the Pchinas of Blig Vol of Elokus. That's also Nizgala through Spheres Atzilis. That's what it does in Chodesh. Then Fraktul L'chora Stira, then on one hand we find that Atzilis is Takalin of Gilei Hel. It's not a B'zdukma, so you can say when you get Gilei Hel, it means that it's not a new thing. Briyesh Ma'ayin means that something new was created. It's not an extension of earlier. It's not a Zgalus of a B'china which was earlier. A new thing was Nisabah. Mashiach, when you say Atzilis is in Lashon Hafrasha, and it's that Aderech L'Gavi Meshav, Atzilis in Lashon Hafrasha means not that you're creating something new, but you're taking the Elyon and you're lowering it down to a lower level. It's the same thing, just on a lower madrega, but it's not a new inyan. So you find this theorem. So that says that Atzilis is Gilei Helam, and it's his galus of the Eibusha. The Eibusha is higher than Atzilis, higher than Sir. Is that the pin of Erin Sof is nizgabla through the spheres. Leidach it says that Atzilis is a chacham ayin timasi. That Atzilis is a new inyan tzeish ma'ayin. That the pchinas hagvul of Atzilis, the chacham chesed, the bina and das, the spheres of Atzilis are something new. It's not a galus of the pchinas shalmalim Atzilis. As the shal that's the kaviyachol stir. That's the shayl. So here he goes in like this. Where is it? Where are we going here? Oh, here. So he says like this. Yeah, we'll go through this in. Achinin. Okay, we'll see the. Achinin says like this. So he says, the Gabi, so what's the Nikud of the first answer? The Nikud of the first answer is that there's a avad the fact that the Atzilis is called Adam Elyon. So there's a mile in Atzilis, a benesif to that Atzilis is Megala, the Inyanim, the miles pratis of Elokus, Chacham v'Nedas. But at Atzilis, there's a higher in which is Gala through Atzilis. The Spheres are Megala, the Pchinas Ein Sof, which is higher than Atzilis. We say that it's Yesh Ma'ayin, that the Gvul has no Yachas at all, doesn't express at all the Pchinas Ein Sof, which is higher than Atzilis. So the first thing is Mechalik is that there's a difference between a Mitas Ein Sof and a lower Darga of the Gvul. That's the first teres that he gives. So the Gabi Ein Sof Mamish, the Gabi the way it's Ein Sof Mamish, Mitas Ein Sof, Haseviv Kolamin, which they've come that has no comparison, no relation at all to Gvul. So the Gabi that Darga Chachma Yesh Ma'ayin, the Gabi that Mitas Ein Sof, there's no Yachas between Gvul to the mitzvah of Gvul. He says before, when you say that the dugma batzilas mesher, ruchish mesher ein skenim, when you say gilui helim, it also means that the gilui has to have a certain yachas, has to have a comparison, has to be able to express the helim. In order to express the helim, so the pchinas hagilui, the spheres, have to have some relation, have to have some some comparison to the Ein Sof. When you say that's legabi a lower level of bligvul, which is going to bring behemshech legabi that spheres chachma chesed inyan mevul are certain are mitzias, have a certain mohos, and they have a certain yachas to the bligvul, and they're able to express the bligvul. Mashin legabi mitzvah Ein Sof. So chachma has no relation at all. You can't trace back any remnants kabiyach of chachma tamid Ein Sof. There's no shaykhis at all. There's be'en arich klal. And mele chachma is pchinas yesh ma'ayin. We're going to see that in a minute. So the guy's the gabe mitzvah Ein Sof. V'gam pchinas ak nikre yesh ma'ayin. Not only a chachma. This is not only spheres that silas. Or yesh ma'ayin. V'gam pchinas ak nikre yesh ma'ayin. The gabe mitzvah pchinas haseviv. Yeah, we spoke. I just mentioned this last time. What does it mean? You think that there's does vesimer that there's gimel elemis pratim bri yitzir asiyah. As even versteht, I mean, the Pashas Advarim. The way it's explained in Chassidus is that this Havas Hayesh, this Havas Mitzvah starts in Elam HaBriya. But the Seder is not that Atzilus Zelakus, where the whole Elam Atzilus is, where the Eibish's spheres are Nesgal in Atzilus. Briya is as Cholas HaMetzias. You know, creating a Nivra outside of Elokus, that's the beginning is Elam HaBriya. But the Eif and the way the Metzias, the way the Nivra is Neshav, it's not directly from Elokus, Vert Elam Hazeh becomes a Nivra B'Shleimus. The Seder Visa Vert is Havas Hayesh is as first there's the Bria of a Chemer Pashat it's called. It means that the Nivra, the Nekudas HaMetzias of the Nivra is created, but it doesn't have any form yet. It doesn't have any distinct surah, and there's 3 shlavim until the Nivra goes into a full state of being. That's Bria Yitzir Asiyah. Bria is a Chemer Pashat. That means the Etzem Nekudas HaMetzias is Nischadesh. The Etzem without any form of this Metzias. Then the Yitzir is there's a certain surah. The Metzias is its tire in a certain surah. Then there's Asiyah where it comes into it's fully completed. I mean, it's not nish the earth from the virus. I mean, that's different quality. So derech, like I said, when you get to nivra kipshute, Metzias of nivraim, that there's 3 dargas or 3 shlavim in the process that the Metzias becomes a Metzias gemura bri yitzir asiyah. Al derech zeh, when you speak about the sheirish in the Metzias nalakus. From man stammt in the Metzias, the musik of the Metzias. That the marker for the Metzias is the kelim, the kelim of the b'chinas kelim which you have in the Lukus. Is this pasha somewhere? There's no Metzias outside of the Lukus. Spheres are kelim are that is in of Metzias in the Lukus, which in the Lukus the in of kelim is that there should be a kelim for the air. But sav kol sav the kelim, the fact that there's the idea of kelim in the Lukus, that's the marker for this to be later the Metzias of the Metzias of Nivraim. So al derech, like you have 3 shlavim in this havas of the Metzias and Nivra. Al derech, say you have 3 shlavim in this havas of the Inina Keli, the Inina Tzir, which is in the Lukus. The first you have the Etzem Inina Metzias, the Etzem Inina of Tzir, the Etzem Inina of Kelim. Then you have the B'chinas HaYitzir, that the Kelim are in its tire in a certain Tzir, and then you have the Asiyah, which is the Gemar, the Gili of the Sfira Shalamayla Kaviyach. That's Beifim Klali. So the B'chinas Ak is that's where it's the Hachodesh, the Nekudas HaMetzias. Adam, the first B'china of Adam. Adam is Tzir. Adam is in of not Tzir as a Nivras Tzir. Adam is via Lukus kum to B'chinas Tzir. B'chinas HaKelim of Lukus. And that's Adam Kadmon is the first B'chinas Adam. So Punkt is if you say when you get to Bria, Elam HaBria, which is that's Cholas HaYesh. It's not Mamish HaYesh yet. It's still the Nekudas HaMetzias. It's just the Chemer Pashut. So Al Derech Zeh, the Inyan had Tzir, the way it's in Chadosh Lukus, which Sav Kol Sav is the marker for the Metzias HaNivra. The Kelim is the Tzir for the Metzias HaNivra. So the B'chinas Spheres, the B'chinas HaTzir, which you have in Lukus, also goes through these 3 stages of Bria, Yitzir, and Asiyah. And the first B'chinas Bria is B'chinas Adam Kad. That's the first B'china of Tzir. Adam is B'chinas Tzir, the first B'china of Tzir. So it's not only Atzilis, which is the Spheres, the way they already come into a full-fledged form of Tzir, of Chachma, Chesed, Bura, Teferes. But even B'chinas Ak, which is the Nekudas in Atzir, the Nekudas in Atzir, we'll see later more Pratim. So that's also Nikra Yesh Ma'ayin, the Gabay Mitzvah B'chinas HaSeder. That's a Davar Chodesh. It means the musig of Tzir, the Etzem musig of Tzir, and the highest even that it's able to be Mitzvah, which that's B'chinas Adam Kadmon, is a Chidesh Yesh Ma'ayin Mamish, the Gabay Mitzvah B'chinas HaSeder. The Gabay the Mitzvah musig of Ein Sof, the Eibishter is ganzen removed from all the musagim of Elamis. The highest and the most edel form of Tzir is a Chidesh Yesh Ma'ayin Mamish. So Adam Kadmon is the highest form of the Inyan Tzir. That's basically what Adam Kadmon is. Spheres in their most refined edel Eifen. In the first beginning, Guduk was to say Elam HaBria is the Inyan Metzias HaNivra in the most refined and the most edel way. So Al Derech Ak is the Inyan HaTzir, the Inyan HaSpheres in the most edel way. That's B'chinas Adam Kadmon. And Av Dem Zoken, that's also B'chinas Bria Tziyesh Ma'ayin the Gabay Mitzvah B'chinas HaSeder. It's a problem. Behind B'chinas Machas Ein Sof. Let's just skip that go for a minute. So that's the Achshenikra Atzilis. What's it called? The fact that Spheres, Tzir, Gvul, it's called Atzilis Vadam Elgi in Hainu Legabi Ak. Yeah, Metrish Legabi Insof, Legabi B'chinas Ak. Now, so first he says, what's the yichus? The Shalah says that Adam has Adam al-Elgin, so you want to bring out a certain mile, want to bring out a certain shvach and a certain greatness in Atzilus. So the fact that Atzilus is behemshech to its makir, you say, what's the mile of Chachmeh? That it stems from the Chachmeh shebenefesh. Okay, what's the... It's Chachmeh, and Chachmeh self results from the Pchinas of Chachmeh, the way it's called in the nefesh. What's the gadlus shebezeh? You want to say that there's a certain Atzilus, Azevot, when that Atzilus only expresses Chachmeh, that only expresses the way it's melubish and the way it's mitzir in the sphere of Chachmeh. Here we're telling you that Atzilus expresses a higher union, expresses something just higher than tzir. But Ak, that's the makar of tzir. Was versteht the mile? So them likter zu, shnikar gamkin mishim ein sof ba'ashala. It's called ein sof. Ashal is al derech like a musik of Shem HaMushal, like the Alter brings in Tanya. They have a mitzvah musik of tzaddik, which means that he's be'emes tzaddik that has no nekuda of hepech hatayv, ainly yitzhahara, and then you have tzaddik, which he has a yitzhahara. But legabi din, Shem HaMushal means in one prat he has in one prat in his life he has a dimya tzaddik. In Pchinas Adin, the Gabi being Zeiche Bedin, he has the quality of a tzaddik, but he's not the true muhus of what a tzaddik is. In one aspect, there's a similarity to Pchinas tzaddik. So Alder Ein Sof Ba'ashala means that Ak is not the Amitis Ein Sof. In one aspect, it's Pchinas Ein Sof. You have to see what it means, but that's. So here he wants to bring out the Milas. When you say that Atzilus Dam Elyon, that brings out a certain aflo in Atzilus that it expresses the Nukud of Ein Sof. Not Amitis Ein Sof, but Ein Sof Ba'ashala. Why? Mit was is Atzilus? Mit was is Ak Ein Sof Ba'ashala? V'shul Ma'ila B'chinas Hakelim D'Atzilus. You're dealing with, even the Ak is already B'chinas Kelim, it's already B'chinas Adam. Adam is B'chinas Tzir, but Ak is Shalei Be'erech higher than B'chinas Kelim D'Atzilus. Ukmeish Nikra Yam brings out a mashal. Was b'shteit the Ein Sof of B'chinas Ak? Ak is B'chinas Adam. Adam is that it's B'chinas Tzir already. We're dealing with B'chinas Hakelim now. What I'm saying is there is the which is this Galsa Ein Sof. But we're dealing now the way it's Mislabish in Kelim, the way it's Mislabish in Tzir. So Ak is already the first Pchinas Tzir. It's not the Tzir the way it's formed in its fullest form, but it's already the Nekuda Pchinas Tzir. But here he says that even though it's already Nekuda of Adam, but it's Pchinas Ein Sof, there's a Dimit Ein Sof. And not only it's a Dimit Ein Sof, but what does he add here? Oh, and the marshal that he brings is the commission Nikra Hayam Mayim Shein Lemsof. So there, like the ocean is called in the Gemara Mayim Shein Lemsof. The Chura has a safe, so you have to understand the marshal. I mean, the marshal is already very funny marshal. The ocean has a limit of how much water it has. Pashas, why are you calling it Ein Lem Safe? Because it's a major amount of water. So why was Hatztam at Ein Sof? We'll see in a minute. So he says, "My question is Ein Lem Sof, after be'emes Ein Sof mamish." Ukmeken yuven adugma b'chinas Ak. Sh'ime yesi b'chinas bria legabe Ein Sof baruch hu, mikom ken nikra b'chinas Ein Sof legabe adrege shematim mena. Saying this etzem inyan, this is just a general thing. It's not this marshal that Maim Zikra Maim Sheila himself. He says Maim is not only not Ein Sof Mamish. Maim is l'chura limited. It's a limited entity. It's not. We can be mishar how much the Gemara says. Efshel shar kamet tipes yesh bayam. The fi'er of the eyes of a person, it's a mededik amount. But why is he called Maim She'ein himself? L'chura has a safe. That the Rebbe, I'm saying this. In Yana Machar al Derech Zeh, that I mean, this is not my beer. I'll be able to explain it this way. That Rebbe brought many times the same thing. There got to be other things. You say this from Rameh Mipano, but the Nekudas Advarim is you say the mashal that the Torah calls man lechem and hashamayim. So it's not. What does it mean? You say lechem and hashamayim doesn't only mean that it was lechem that came from heaven. Lechem and aretz comes from the earth. And lechem and hashamayim means it came from heaven. Lechem and hashamayim means that ba'amitis muhuse it wasn't a gashmisdik type of thing. It was a ruchnisdik. It was a shemayimdik type of thing. So one of the things that says when they get to man that had certain characteristics that man had that a davar gashmi wouldn't be able to be won't be able to have those type of gedarim. Mashalmayim, it says one of the things of man is a tom of a kol time. You're able to taste any taste that you want. You're able to taste in the man. Now a davar gashmi, everything has its certain mugdadik, certain distinct color and a certain distinct taste. Whether it's sweet or whether it's bitter, you can't have two. Or it's sweet or it's bitter. You can't have all taste that you want. Why is it that you're able to taste kol time in man? Because ba'etzem it wasn't a gashmi thing. A davar ruchni doesn't have the agdara of a specific distinct taste. A davar ruchni doesn't have these agbalas. But the problem is, a davar ruchni is you're not able to taste altogether. It's higher than tam. It's mushtit from the agdara of tam. But since the man is at this muhus mazin ruchni came that people living in this world and physical world should be able to experience this mazon ruchni. So when it came and it was mislavish in this world, it had to have a certain tfisa. A person can't be margish something that's higher than tam altogether. So when it was mislavish in this world, it was mislavish in a way they're able to be tamed by kol time. Because the pshittus of the man, the way it is beruchni is mehusei mamish, that's not able to be experienced in Elam Hazah. So when it came to be experienced in this world, it came to the person in a way that tam by kol time. What I'm saying is, you have certain things. The fact, you say, every single thing has its size. For example, every nivra has its size. The mayim have a size that's not in proportionate to other type of. The ocean has a zag gadlus, such a unproportionate size. There got to be other nivraim. That be'etzim mitzad the gdarim of Elam Hazim, mitzad the gdarim of nivraim, it shouldn't have been that big. Mitzad the nature and the way the character, the way Elam Hazim works. The water shouldn't have such a spashtus, such a takeif, such a grace that it has inside the gdarim of Elam Hazim. So man entstammt es like the geidela hamida of the mayim, because be'etzem mayim is mushrish in a lakus which is higher than gvul, higher than mido gvul. But the lakus which is higher than mido gvul can't be expressed in this physical world. Elam Hazim is mugbal. So vi gets chares in this world something which is higher than midogvul, that it's higher than the regular proportions. So b'chitzenius it looks like the whole yichus of what of the ocean is that it's higher than the regular proportions. But the fact that it's higher than it's beyond the regular sizes, the regular proportions of a nivra in Elam Hazah is because amitis mohusay it's not one of the nivraim in Elam Hazah. It's a higher mohus which is expressing itself in Elam Hazah. Since the higher mohus being expressing itself in Elam Hazah, so it has to have some type of shear. If it has no shear, Elam Hazah is gvul. If it has no shear at all, so there's no way for the nivra to be able to experience it. In Elam Hazah, there can't be a nivra which has no shear. Then it's not involved. If it's a davar gashmi, it has to have a shear. But since it's the way the muhus, the way it is higher than seer, being expressed, coming down in a way that you're able to have a hargosh in something which is higher than gvul, the mela, the way it's misbat in Elam Hazah is that it's beyond the regular mido gvul. Versteht das Mr. Tinyan? In many ways, there brings this Indian in many fan. One of the things famous, Adam Gills, gehört einmal, Adam Gills of Sirs B'Shamayim. Mal gehört wegen dem. There brings the pasuk says that there was Adam G'dolos B'Tzuras B'Shamayim. When they get to the Yidden conquering the cities of the Adam G'dolos B'Tzuras B'Shamayim. There was a starke shtet that they went till the sky, the shtet. So the shaila is the pile. The Gemara says about this. The Gemara says that in this pasuk that divra kasev divrei guzma divrei avai. The Gemara brings different. The Gemara says that the psukim in Torah there's exaggeration. So the pasuk says that the cities went up all the way to the sky. So the Shayach says that the cities went up all the way to the sky. The pile they had a certain limit. A person can't build a city to the sky. So the pasuk is gered divrei guzma divrei avai. The shaila is the pasuk is Torah samis. So how could you say that the pasuk Torah is saying it's the divrei guzma divrei avai was meantas? So the Rameh Pano says that be'amitis inyanim they were ardim which were gdelis absiras b'shamayim, that they were beyond mido gvul. They reached to the sky. The way these, in other words, there's a certain chayzik and gvura, a getlich gvura. There's a gvura and the might of a nivra, and there's the powerful city according to Gdarim of Elam Hazah. Then there's the Eibish's power, the Eibish's gvura, which is a different type of gvura legami. It's blik vol gvura, blik vol tekev. The tekev of these Arim Tzuris, be'etzem, it wasn't the regular nivra's gvura. It was the gvura shalamayla. But the gvura, so by mitis mahusay, it was Arim Gdels Vashamayim. So the mahus of these tekev of these Arim, be'etzem, they were Arim which were so strong. Al derech told the sky. No nivra is able. There's no nivra is able to reach these Arim. It's told the sky. Lepel mamash ne'elam hazeh. Didn't this world when the tekev shalmayla was nisbat in this world, so the whole tekev can't be expressed in this world. It can't be expressed fully because gvura shalmayla is b'chlal beyond b'did v'agbala. If the gvura is being expressed and is being mislavish, is being misgaleh, and is being materialized in Elam Hazeh, it's going to have a certain mido gvul. It can't be a city that goes till the sky on b'did v'agbalas. So Vuat Zechareis gebracht that these Arim didn't have stamazeh a takeoff of a nivra, that the takeoff shalamayla, a takeoff of the Eibishter's takeoff that was nisbat in them, that they were beyond proportion. The takeoff was beyond proportion to regular nivra type of portions. There's certain gvura and certain takeoff that al pigidra and nivram, certain things that are weaker, certain things that are stronger. This was a strength shalei lefiyarach. Bereshis you have bnei elikim. the people that came from Malachim, they were a different proportion lagamri. Malachim have no tzir at all. But you have people that they're creatures. Then you have creatures that are Malachim, which ended up coming into a tzir of Bnei Adam. If they're in a tzir of Bnei Adam, they have to have a tzir of Bnei Adam. So they were people. But there are people unproportionately big. A malach is not unproportionately big. He's b'chlam not mugbal in the middle of a shir of a guf. But when the malach, when this mahus ruchni is being mislabish, he's being experienced, he's being expressed in this physical world, he's going to have physical dvarim, but not according to the regular dvarim. You have many things there. This means ein sof ba'ashala that ak adam kadmin is you'll see the beer later, but it means ein sof ba'ashala is it's not a mahus of tzir, it's not a regular mahus of tzir. It's the way Ein Sof comes into the world of Tzir. But it's not Ein Sof the way Ein Sof is Ba'amitis Muhusay, the way is B'pshitusay Amiti. It's the Musig of Blig Vol, the way it expresses itself in the Musig of Tzir. Which we'll see the touch. That's what it means Ein Sof Ba'ash'Allah. Why? Be'etzim it's Ak is Adam Kadm, it's P'chin of Tzir. But it's a Tzir, since it's not Stam Tzir, it's the way the Blig Vol comes into the realm of Tzir. So the Tzir is not, there's a certain Nikud of higher than the regular Medidus Vagbolos of Vol in the P'chin of Ak.
In the beginning of the Mar, didn't we bring examples of how Ein Sof could come into Tzir? For example, the sun.
Yeah, but that's we brought examples of Ein Sof coming into Tzir.
What they do, the sun's between the snow and different.
Okay, but that's the Hachodesh says there's a Nekudas a Blig Vol in Welt. Good, we have to understand what the Shedesh is. He's coming to explain what the Shedesh Advarim is. That's what he's coming to explain what the Shedesh is that you have it's Chazak and Kiyem Ibadah. That's what he's coming to explain what the Shedesh Makar is. That's what the Maimar is coming to explain. But here he's saying when you get enough of Spheres Atzilus. Okay, but he brings a stir. He brings a stir. First he brings Atzilus. Atzilus is that the Ein Sof Shalom in Atzilus is Gal in Atzilus. But the Perl steht nicht, steht that Atzilus is a Yesh Ma'ayin. That the Gvul doesn't express the Big Gvul. The Gvul has no Erech Klal. So that's getting in front of Klal. That's what we're starting to go through. That so the first tipuch that he says is a certain musig of Ein Sof, which is expressed in Atzilus. But the Amitis Ein Sof is far beyond being able to be expressed in Atzilus. That's what he's starting to go through. That's what he's starting to adrug in the minyan. We'll see what he's.
Is there a marker for that?
He never brings it. I'm saying it should. To look in the hadron of a couple of times, he never brings this word.
You can go back to the verse?
Yeah, we'll go back to the verse. Let me get the first the Gofeini.
Well, what's the chiluk? The Gofeini. The Gabi is a mitzvah of
How to mit reden? What do you mean? What do you mean this other stuff?
Gabi. The Be'etzem is nicht, the Be'etzem is not the Be'etzem is not.
The Gabi Amitis Ein Sof, the Gvul has no Erech Klal Gabi the Gvul. And it's al derech Yishmayin Mamish. It's a new Metzias. No Hemshech to the Ein Sof. The Gabi a lower version of the Ein Sof Kaviyachol. So it is. So what's the shayla? So it's Megal a certain musik of the Gvul, but the Blig Gvul of Ak, not the Blig Gvul of Ein Sof. It's not a mitzvah of the Gvul. It's not Gvul. No, that's what I'm saying. He says Ein Sof Ba'ashalom. That means that it's Ein Sof the way it comes into. It's not. There's Gvul. There's Chacham Chesed Bor Teferes. Ak is not Gvul. Ak is the Ein Sof the way it relates to the musik of Gvul. That's how we're going to see. Yeah, it's not a mitzvah Ein Sof tak. It's the Ein Sof the way it relates to Gvul, not a mitzvah Ein Sof.
It's like a
That's why he's saying Gvul. We're saying an uftu here. As without Adam al I would say that Atzilus only brings out the kavak Gvul that there is in Elokus, not the Ein Sof of Elokus, not the Blig Gvul of Elokus. Adam Tuturuf that Atzilus does express the Blig Gvul of Elokus. Which darga of Blig Gvul? The Blig Gvul, which is connected to Chatchilut Gvul. That's the Emes says it. But without this, Atzilus is Gvul. It's Chachma. What does Chachma contain? Chachma contains the wisdom of the Nefesh, not more. And the Nefesh, the way it relates to the Musik of Chachma. The Lake Tertzu, that Atzilus doesn't only relate to the Musik of Chachma, the way it's in the Nefesh. Atzilus also expresses the Pshittas of the Nefesh. Which Musik of Pshittas? Not the Midas of Pshittas. The Pshittas, the way it's connected to the Musik of Gvul. That we'll see. It's going to be involved. He's going to say, כמי כניוון הדוג מבחינת אק, שאם יש מבחינת בריאה לגבי אין סוף, לגבי מיתוס אין סוף אק מבחינת בריאה, מקום כנקרא מבחינת אין סוף לגבי מדרגה של מטים. It's called B'chinas Ein Sof. Means he's calling, this is not Mishka B'tzanis. He's calling Atzilus, he's calling Adam Kat B'chinas Ein Sof. So it's Bligvol Legabi the B'china of Atzilus. He didn't explain. Ukiyodua, the Ak Nik, Vu Zet when the Ak is called, is B'chinas Ein Sof Legabi Adegel Shalmatim. Kiyodua the Ak Nikra Er Kloli. Shekelo Kol Eishtalshus Mirishka Dagan Tzivka Dan B'chinas Hashua Mamish. In Ak, alle Elamis Atzilus, alle Elamis, the Hechste Elamis, it's all Hashua Legabi B'chinas Hashua. If Ak is Tzir, Legabi Tzir, the Tzir of Chochmah Atzilus, and the Tzir of Yesh, is Shalei Be'er Klal. How Legabi Ak is a Chochmah Atzilus and Asiyah B'Hashua Mamish. Kol Seder Shashlus is Nichal and Ak B'chinas Hashua Mamish. How's it shaykh? If Ak is a Tzir, this Tzir and that Tzir is Shalei Be'er Klal. How is he killed in B'Hashua Mamish? Because Ak is B'chinas Ein Sof Legabi Atzilus V'Asiyah. See if it's B'chinas Ein Sof, so what's the difference between B'chinas Ak with Amitas Ein Sof? What's that mean? What I'm saying, but that's okay. Let's see. Amish because means cause the act makam the Amish shekdimu umemela hakelu b'chinas ein sof b'chinas bligvul. He wants to bring out the flow of b'chinas ak. Because it's chaim the ak kolum yutzviris. But kulam nikra ein sof erechel matzos. Mikam kim leyes b'chinas adam debri nikra tzos lam le'am negav b'chinas regesu. Rabbi shadden sign here to the shar shekdimu samachvez and tikkos amadal. There I'm saying the point I would just bring out. I feel I'm saying something that's more. Learned the Chantani based on the Chabis living in them. What does the Alter Rebbe say? The Alter Rebbe says, the Alter Rebbe brings out when Alter Rebbe is mevar the Indian that Kulek Mikolachshiv. All the elements have no erech. The Gabi Elukus. The Alter Rebbe speaks about it in Perik Chaf Aleph. So Alter Rebbe brings out this bit that Kulek Mikolachshiv that the elements have no erech, have no value. The Gabi inside. So the Alter Rebbe brings a mashal from the Nefesh. So the Alter Rebbe goes in stages. First, the Alter Rebbe says that one dibur. Legabi keach hadibur is be'enarech. Gvul legabi a greater gvul. You say one legabi a million has a certain value. One is the whole million is built of a bunch of ones. So you can't. One is not nothing legabi a million. Mashakin one legabi ein sof. One legabi ein sof. One is not a percentage of ein sof. Bligvul is not built from a bunch of ones. Ones is from a bunch of limited ones. You're not going to come to bligvul. So bligvul is a different entity legamri. So that's the one ace. The keach hadibur the nevesh is yachal daber diburim ein ketz. Can speak bligvul diburim. So mele one dibur legabi the keach hadibur is einarech. As you talked about there. But that's one level of einarech. Then there's another level of einarech. Keach hadibur the Alter Rebbe says is einarech, but it's not. It's just the regular erech of gvul legabi bligvul. Then there's a higher musik dibur legabi the keachis are amitas einarech. What's the difference between this einarech and that einarech? What's the if there's no comparison, there's no comparison. How could it be dargis and einarech? So there was a nekud. There was inspired by one of the Simchas Fabrings. The Rebbe brings there. You have one efen of einarech that you have. Let's say in a regular, you say $1 legabi bligvul. So always legabi bligvul has in a certain aspect has no value at all, because bligvul is a different caliber of metzias legamri. But leidach, why are you saying that the gvul legabi the bligvul shalei be'erech? Not you say one eis legabi keach hadibur shebenefesh is be'enarech. Why is it be'enarech? Because this is only one, and the keach hadibur itself has no limit of how much words it can speak. Yochel daber diburim ein ketz. But the etzim inyan of dibur is a mitzias. So the etzim inyan of this one dibur, the quality that it has is not nothing. The einarech is bashtatin then that it's only one. In the einarech is that it only contains a limited amount of it. And the Elgin has the inyan without any akbalos, without any limits. Limit. What do you mean? I'm saying limit legabi with something without a limit. There's no comparison. You can't get from something from one limit bigger till without any limits. Without any limits is different from most legabi. But what's in vaz b'shtei einarech when you say something which is a limited thing, legabi an unlimited thing? Not that the thing, the quality that it does contain is something even legabi the bligvul that it has a certain value. You say that it has no comparison at all is that it's limited, and it's not bligvul. That's one type of einarech. You have another einarech is that's also say ein sof. This thing has no limits. Keach hadibur has no limits of how much speech is able to speak. It's not limited in how much. It's the keach hadibur itself. It's a keach to speak. There's no how much. There's no limitations of how much you can speak. Masha'egin one letter is one word. There's no comparison between a limited amount to something which has no limits. That's one thing. But then there's a deeper bligvul is not just that it has no limits. You see, there is about the dogma that if you have ribi offer legabi kesef v'zav. The inner reich of stam as a dust, sand, the gabi kesef bezav, is not that this is one and this is blik vol. It's a different eichus, a different mohus. Legabi zav, so the sand has no is not a metzias b'chlal. It's not only that it contains a limited amount of something. The etzem inin is garnished. You know what I'm saying? You say there's one efen of ein arech is not that the elyon doesn't have the limitations of the tachton. Legabi the elyon, the quality of the elyon is nothing, has no value at all. You know what I'm saying? You have a chacham katan, you have a chacham god, you have a chacham that has blikvul chacham. So the chacham katan is be'ein arech to someone that has seichel blikvul. But the quality that the chacham katan does have, that's a quality that we don't negate that quality. He has seichel. The ein arech is that it's limited and not unlimited. But the etzem of seichel is a metzias. Then you say not only you say shtus legabe seichel. Shtus legabe seichel. The chisaron is not that shtus is limited. It's nothing. It's not a metzias legabe seichel. It's not a reality legabe seichel. So out there, I say the difference between Adam Kadman and Ein Sof. Adam Kadman is with the way the way is. You see, out there he speak about I'm saying as a mashal. You have the keach hadibur, and then you have a dibur prati. So dibur prati is shalei be'er klal. That Rebbe says one dibur is shalei be'er klal to the keach hadibur. Why? Because keach hadibur is unlimited. A regular dibra sentence is a certain amount of words that you invested in this sentence, a certain amount of keach that you invested in this sentence. The keach hadibur is the power to speak. Has no limits of how many words. It has no limits. But it's this Indian anakbalus. It's not a higher realm and darga of Indian legam. It's this Indian without any limitations. Masha'inkin, we speak about something which is seichel, which is higher than the whole like legabe seichel. The whole mitzias of dibur is not a mitzias. It's not a quality legabe seichel. Seichel is a higher type of mitzias legamri. So the enerich is not just that it's higher, that it doesn't have the limit of the tachton. The mitzias of the tachton is not a mitzias. So then as they say, ak is every olam atzilis bria. Every olam has its specific form of this olam. Every olam is mukban a certain form of mitzias. Let's say atzilis is ein sort mitzias, and bria is a different form of mitzias. I see a different form of hachodesh, different phases and different forms of mitzias. Adam kadman is the etzem inin of mitzias, not a certain form of mitzias. The etzem inin of mitzias without any limitations of what type of form. But it's mitzias, not something else. Aderech like you have, I just want to bring out the point. I'm just saying that's my idea. Aderech like you have keich hadibur. Keich hadibur is there's speaking a certain sentence which has like balls, and there is the power to speak. He can speak anything. He can speak aleph, beis, this sound, that sound. No, there's no limitations in how much, no limitations in what form he's able to speak. It's the etzem inin of dibur, which has no agbalis in was fara eifen those zayin. So mitzadechad is blik vol, but it's blik vol. It's not limited in a certain inyan. It's not limited that has no agbalis klal. It's not limited in a certain inyan. It's not limited that in the inyan of dibur. It's dibur without agbalis, not higher than the realm of dibur legamri. Al dar za'ak is the inyan hamitzias without the limitations. What type of mitzias? But vasfar the mitzias which has to do with ishtalshalos. The nekud of the whole seder ishtalshalos. There's the whole Metzias Seder Shalosh elements from Atzilis and Bria, the whole Metzias of Ishtalshalos. Adam Kadman is the etzem nekud of the Metzias of Seder Ishtalshalos. Not a certain phase and type in this reality. It's the nekudas and Metzias without the agbalas of what type of Metzias. So the Gabi Ak, you have the whole Metzias Seder Ishtalshalos b'ashva achas. I'll explain this a little better in a minute. When you speak about Ein Sof, that he says Amitis Ein Sof. So the Gabi Amitis Ein Sof, it's not that the whole etzem inyan of Eilam doesn't exist. The quality of Welt is not a mitzvah. The chisaron is not, legabi ak, the chisaron of Atzilus is that it's a limited form of reality. But the qualities that Atzilus does, chachma chesed, is a mitzvah, legabi ak, legabi Adam Kadmon. The etzem inyan of Tzir was a Chachodesh in ak, the etzem inyan of Adam of Tzir. So the idea of chachma, the idea of chesed, that it's a quality that brings that all the course, that's Chachodesh tak in Adam Kadmon, it's the b'china of Adam. The whole idea of chachma, the whole idea of mitzias doesn't exist. The whole idea of milas doesn't exist. What the Eivisher himself is Leis Machshavas Yisabeh. He's Ein Sof. Before there's any musig of musag. So there's no musig of mitzvah. There's no musig of chachma v'chesed. We see the way you say in Arech that before the whole idea of dibur was invented, before the whole idea of elmas was invented. B'chinas Adam Kadmon is there was a chadish that there's a quality of Welt. There's a quality of the etzem inin of Seder Shtalshalos. But not a specific phase, not a specific mitzvah of Seder Shtalshalos. Adam Kadmon is the etzem inin of mitzvah of Seder Shtalshalos without any agbalas. Versteht das am certain?
one dibur.
I'm just bringing a dogma that you have something which is bligvul. You're saying the word bligvul. You say it's and bligvul is always be'en arechtig vul, but there's dargis in bligvul, and there's dargis in arech. You have bligvul. Bligvul is a whole different caliber than vul, but it's there's dargis. You have bligvul, this Indian without limits, or not only this Indian without limits. The alien is a different caliber of Indian b'chlal, and the guy with the alien, the tachton is not a metzias at all. Not that he has the quality of the tachton without the limitations of the tachton. It's a whole different mitzvah, a whole different mahus. And now there's certain Indian gans.
How much and what?
Yeah, you say it like that. So when he says the Gabi Adam Kadmon is also a tnu of bligvul. But in was besteht the bligvul besteht in them that he's not limited to any form of mitzvahs. So maybe I'll be masbid this prat a little bit better. You speak about. I'm saying when we say the musik. What I'm saying is when we say the. I'm saying we say. We're trying to say is that it's a musik of pshitas and it's a musik of pshitas of being mushtal from tzir, but I'm saying is we'll take even the different ways. This the marshal keich brings out the nekuda a little bit. You're saying there's dibur, but you have the way dibur is unlimited. Keich dibur, but it's other Adam Kadmon is elamis. But it's Eilamis, but it's the Nekudas HaMetzias of Eilamis. Not a certain form of Eilamis. It's the Guf Nekudas HaMetzias. And the Nekudas HaMetzias itself, the Nekuda of Eilamis is the Pshitas of Elokus, the way it's Nizgale, that it's not movable in any form of Metzias. That's what I'm saying. There's Metzias, Seder Shtalshalis, and this Metzias has the Darga Achil Yena and the Darga Chit Achlein. Seder Shtalshalis is the musik of tzir, let's say. You want to bring out that Elokus is not mugbal b'meile from Elokus, any type of tzir could be. Inside the pshitis of Elokus, any form of tzir is able to be misad Elokus. So, but we're not. So there is that mitzvah pshitis which is higher than tzir legamri. There's the mitzvah pshitis which is not expressed with them that from him that he's not limited to any form of mitzvahs, any type of mitzvahs could be. He's beyond b'chlal the whole musik of mitzvahs. Then there's as the musik of pshitis wasteness bat in them that any form of mitzvahs Elokus contains. You see what I'm saying? It's a nekuda pshitis. We're not saying that the mitzvah darga of ak it's tzir. It's not tzir. The darga of ak is a certain the way the pshitis of Elokus comes in the mizgaras of tzir. Yeah, I'm just saying a dogma that even when you say bligvul, but bligvul doesn't always mean that the alien is in a different caliber, a different mohus than the tachton. The bligvul could be it's this Indian without the agbalus of the Indian. When you speak about an ak is not just the mitzias of elamis, the way it's not mugul. Ak it's a dark in the lukus, the rots and klali, like I said. But it's the bligvul of a lukus, the way it's yored, let's say. Ta darger where in vas brings chareis, the pshitas of a lukus, that he's not limited and he's able to contain any form of mitzias. We will say just to bring out this point that I'm bringing out one point to the Indian, but let's just say it like this: that you say, Mashal, someone a person has keich hazrika. You're able to. So we speak about how far you're throwing it. You can throw the I can throw the stone 2 ames, more than 2 ames. So to throw the stone further, you have to have more keich to throw the stone further. Masha'inkin, you say to throw it to the right side, to mizrach or to ma'ariv, to dardim, to tzafin. You see, to throw it to dardim, you don't need more kayach. Or let's say the Eibush would create a seventh kotze. So the kayach is going to have to become bigger in order to throw it to the 7th kotze. So, till now he's only able to throw it to the right, to the left, to the front, and to the back. If it would be like nachazait, so the energy is able to throw it down, throw it up. There'll be another time. There'll be another kotze. So the kayach is going to have to be expand in order to throw it to the other kotze. To throw it further, so you have to have a stronger kayach. But to the left and to the right, you don't need it. So why is it? Because it's not that there's to throw the kayach to throw 2 amas or 3 amas or 4 amas. So that there's a certain amount of energy the person has in his hand. So he has enough energy to throw the evan 2 amas. He has enough energy to throw the evan 3 amas, 4 amas. throw it left side or right. It's not that there's in the Keich HaTnua there's some marker to throw it to this side, and there's another aspect in the Keich HaTnua to throw it to this side, and to up and to down. And the Melata seventh cuts, the Keich HaTnua is going to have to become bigger. Legabi sides, it doesn't have the Agdara of sides. The Keich HaTnua is a Keich to throw. It's not limited in the idea of sides. It's not connected. Therefore, it can be in any side. There's certain things that it's just much to bring at this point. What I'm saying is, you say that something. The reason why you could have all the four sides is not because it contains and it's a potential to throw here, to throw there, and to throw to all four sides. It's because the Keich HaTnua is not limited in that inyan. He's not confined to what angle to throw it. He's not confined to angles. He's not confined to anything. There could be any angle. See, if he's not confined to angles, he shouldn't be able to throw it to an angle altogether. No, you're saying he's not confined to an angle. So any angle is going to be. So it's the nekuda of not being mugder, not being confined to angles. You say, but if he's not mugder, so therefore he should be able to be not mugder at all. No. He has, in one aspect, he's not mugder. In the aspect of angles, the Keich HaTnua is not mugder. So, and Atzilus saying others are the same thing. Saying Atzilus Ak is Ein Sof. He's not mugder. But not that he's not mugder at all. He's not mugder in the sense that any form of Metzias he contains. He's not mugbal in any form of Metzias of Seder Shalshlis. Not that he's not mugder at all. So, an Ak is Chadesh going, there's a musik of Metzias. And an Ak is that the blikval of Elokus is Nisgale in the realm of not being mugbal in a certain Eifen of Metzias. That's what Ak. That's what they're called. Ratz and Klali for Seder Shalshlis. Is the pshittas of Elokus, the way in the marshal, so it's not the pshat that Keich HaTnua is an expression of pshittas in respect to angles. I'm just saying a dogma, that something is not confined in a certain realm, in a certain nekuda. It's not the nekuda of pshittas itself. It's not confined in the realm of angles. Therefore, any angle is able to go. So one of the expressions of something is not confined to something is, therefore, it's not limited to one angle. Any angle could be. You say one way, you say he's not confined, so he can't come on angles. No, since he's not confined to the idea of angles, he's confined to how far. But he's not confined to the idea of angles. But any angle you can throw. You can throw up, down, back, and right and left. So there's an Ak. Ak is not confined to any form of Metzias. A Edelif is a Metzias, a Grub Metzias. If he's not confined to a form, can sein out. From one stammt is that he's not confined in a form of Metzias. Because Ak is also in a certain expression of the Blikval of the Ein Sof. But not the Ein Sof, the way he is higher than the whole idea of Metzias. The Ein Sof, the way it's Nizgali in them, that he's not mugder to any Eifen of Metzias. So now you use these words is in Adam Kadam is this Chadish, the idea of Metzias. And Adam Kadman is Vivet is Chadish the Musik of Metzias bim Kere Achir Rishon, that mitzad the Blikval of Elokus, he's not limited and confined to any form of Metzias. But once you say this word, he's not limited and confined to any form of Metzias, there has to be already a certain Musik of what Metzias is. And after them sagen that Elokus is in Bas Bashtet, the Blikval of Elokus, that he's not confined to any form of Metzias. You understand what I'm saying? Before Adam Kadman is saying the way Imsad Ein Sof, there's no musik of Metzias. There's the Eivisher, there's Pshittas, there's Blikvol. And you can't see the musik of Blikvol that's expressed that he's not confined to any form of Metzias. There is no musik of Metzias. And the Midas in of Ein Sof has nothing to do with Bechlal with Metzias. Ak is already Lachar at Tzimtzum, where it says Chadesh, there's an idea, there's a form of reality called Tzir. And the Mitzad, the Pshittas of Elokus, he's not limited to any form of Tzir. He can be in any Tzir. But first you have to say that there's a reality called Tzir, and once you have it, there's a Mitzir, there's a Mahus, an Indian called Tzir, you could say that in Vas, Bashtet, the Blikval of Elokus, that he's not limited to any specific form. But mainly from him, there could be any form.
This Blikvol existed before the Tzimtzum.
No, this Blikvol didn't exist. The Blikvol, the way it is before the Tzimtzum is Ein Sof, which is higher than the whole realm of reality altogether. It's the Ein Sof, which is the Gabi, that Darga, the Etzav Inid of Metzias is nothing. So it can be expressed in the fact that he's not limited, that he's not confined to these. The Gedarim don't exist in Malchatchila. First, what confined means? Confined means he's not nicht mit Tzimtzum. Nicht mugbal nicht mugbal in the middle. You understand what I'm saying? It's a different musik of Blikvol.
It would be Blikvol in that area.
No, the Blikvol is the whole idea of Tzir doesn't exist. There is no idea of Tzir of the Tzimtzum. It's a mitzvah Ein Sof. You say the Gabi, that's what I was saying before the Gabi Dibur and Seichel. You're going to say that Seichel, the Gabi Seichel, you say Seichel, Shtus the Gabi Seichel. You can say that Seichel, since it's not limited, Shtusim is nothing. It's saying, well, shtusim can come from there. Shtusim is not a quality. It's not narishkeit. It's nothing. Before Tzimtzum, the whole idea of Metzias didn't exist. What's Ein Sof? You don't know what Ein Sof is. Ein Sof is Amidas Ein Sof. In order for there to be a certain in order for there to be the aschal of a certain gili of bleak vol in our realm, first is this Hachodesh, the etzim inyan of tzir, etzim inyan of Metzias. And now with the shleimus nalakus, the pshittis can be nizgale in this phase that mitzad the Eivish's pshittis is not limited to a specific tzir, a specific form. But in order to say it's not limited to a specific form, and any form could be from him, forms has to be Inyan. Yeah, there the mashal that it brings in Samadal is that you say there's a pratim, there's keiches aklul benefesh, there's nefesh neise keiches. So keiches aklul benefesh is all there's keiches, there's chachme, chesed, gvura, teferes, and there's different dargis in how the keiches are mushish in the nefesh. So we're not dealing with the nefesh, we're dealing with how the keiches stem from the nefesh, how they're mockers in the nefesh. Nefesh is a different thing. Nefesh is a keiches. We're speaking about the nefesh. The nefesh itself is pashat. Mitzad the pshittas nefesh, it has no limits. It's not confined in any form. Therefore, any type of keiches can come from it. Nefesh the keiches. We're not speaking about that the keiches begin. The keiches akulam is the keiches the way they begin and the most edel ha'ifin. So Chachma begins in a very edel ha'ifin. Chachma, Bina, Gvura, Teferes, Netz, the keiches the way they begin in the nefesh are the most edel form. Nefesh the keiches, we're not dealing with the keiches and how they begin in the nefesh. We're talking about the nefesh itself. The nefesh itself is not limited. It's pshittis. Because the nefesh is not limited, it's not mugdar in a specific keiach. So any keiach can come from the nefesh. But only keiches will come from the nefesh. Stamazeh is something which has no quality. Something which doesn't express nefesh is not going to come from the nefesh. The same way you say when you get keich hadibra is unlimited. Therefore, so any words could come from it. Because any words is considered a value legabi keich hadibra. In vas b'shet the blik val keich hadibra, that any word he is not limited in words. But in order to say that he's not limited in words, you first have to say that speaking is an inyan. If speaking is nothing, so it's not limited, therefore any word to go. Words is nothing. Okay, that's nefesh. There's no keiches, there's only nefesh. But mitzad the pshitas and nefesh, because the nefesh is not mugbal, I'll tell you when you get to the keiches zrika. There's no angles in the keiches zrika. There's no angles there. But mitzad, since the keiches zrika is not confined in angles, it's going to be able to throw on any angle. So that's nefesh. Nefesh is keiches. There is no keiches. There's nefesh. But mitzad, the fact that the nefesh is not confined in the Agbala of Keiches, any Keich can come from it. Chachme, Seichel, Midis, but only Keiches that express Nefesh. Something which has Stamazeh stones is not going to come from the Nefesh. It doesn't express anything. It doesn't have any value like the Nefesh. You understand what I'm saying? So I was saying before, Ein Sof Hashala, Ak is not Ein Sof the way it is, the Amitis Mosik. It's the way Ein Sof expresses itself in the realm where reality is a mitzvah. So in was gets the pshitas of Chinas Ak is the mitzvah the fact that Elokus is not mugbo. So therefore, any form of mitzvah, Elokus contains every form of mitzvah. Why does Elokus contain every form of mitzvah? They say, why is the keich able to come at every angle? Not because the keich it has within it potential for angles, because it's not confined in the musig of angle. Therefore, Zalder's Ak is Elokus. The Elokus is not confined in any distinct form of mitzvahs. So any mitzvah is able to come from it. But the fact that Elokus is not confined in a certain type of mitzvahs, to say that is not a mitzvah ein sof, because you're saying already that mitzvahs is an inyan, and therefore what besteht the mile of Bchinas Adam Kadmin, that is not confined to any distinct form of mitzvahs, and any mitzvah is able to come from it. To say that is not mugdar mitzvahs is already saying that there's a mocker for the musik of mitzvahs, and that it's Ein Sof, the way Ein Sof relates to not being mugbal to a certain form of mitzvahs. Mashiach and Amitis Ein Sof, the whole idea of Seder Shlashos doesn't exist. Huh? You can say that it's the Nukudah of mitzvahs. The Nukudah of mitzvahs. Huh? Yeah, that's just, I'm saying a mashal, I'm just saying the dogma.
We don't know the mitzvahs of what's...
This machshav tzibbe. Mit reden mehr praten mit dem.
What's the difference that to say considers the Zama only and it has to have a Kabbalah but we go to be in that matter, it doesn't
It does have to be. I'm saying that. That's what I'm saying. If the gvul was garnished, if Atzilus is Chachma Chesed is nothing, then you can't say that mitzad bli gvul there could be Chachma and Chesed. Mitzad bli gvul, it's Chachma Chesed not Metzias Legabe. In order to say that mitzad bli gvul there could be Chachma and Chesed, to say that Chachma Chesed is an Inyan. If Chachma Chesed is nothing, you say in order to say that the Kayach Hazrika could go in any angle. Yeah, in angles, it could throw out different angles, but it can't, you say, because it's not confined in Chveisbas. It's something which has nothing to do with Kei Chazrika. It's not confined in something which makes it unlimited in its realm. You say, what? In Vasbashid Blik Volavak. Any form of Mitzvah is able to be. It's not limited to a specific form of Mitzvah. That means that the Etzem in the Mitzvah is something. It's not limited to a certain form of Mitzvah. But if the character of Seder Shalshlis, the whole form of being of Seder Shalshlis didn't exist, so you can't say that in Vasbashid Zaymayla that any type of nivra from this Seder Shalshlis could be Mitzadak.
So Ak has the erech.
No. Ak is Yishma Ein Mamish Legab Different Essence. Because Ak is already the musik of Metzias was his Chadash. And the musik that Tzir has a Maila was his Chadash and Ak. The musik of Adam was his Chadash and Ak. There's the musik of Chachmed, there's Chabad, Chagas, and there's an Indian Chabad Chagas. Chabad Chagas in Blik Volefanu. In Akudim, in Atzilus, in Bri, Yitzir Asir, there's no limit to B'chinas Adam. And Ak is Kel all these in Yana Bashva, because Ak is, the Elkus is not mugbal to a specific form of Mitzvah. It's the Pshittas of Elkus, but the Pshittas of Elkus, the way in Vas gets a Chares the Pshittas, that he's not mugbal in a specific tzir of Adam. But the Etzem of Adam is a Mitzvah. So the Nefesh is not mugbal, and therefore there could be Chachma, Bina, Das, Chesed, any Kaya. But Kayach is not something which has nothing to do with the Nefesh. It's not limited to a specific form. It has this Inyan without limits. So you have this Inyan has to be an Inyan, and it has it without limits. Akis, it has the quality of Eilumis without limits. If it had the quality of Eilumis without limits, there could be, and everything's Bashva, because it's without limits. So any Maila that could be in Siyur, Akis Keilim, Bashva. It's not a certain Darga of Mitzvahs. It's the Nekudas of Mitzvahs. Jeder versteht Bechol? Why is it right? That's Nefesh Kirchis also. The Nefesh Kirchis is out there, Chadim Kadim. Nefesh Kirchis is not Kirchis. Nefesh Kirchis is the Pshitas HaNefesh. It's the Pshitas HaNefesh. Pshitas HaNefesh is Mugbal, but the Nefesh is not Insafe. In Vasba steht that the Nefesh is not Mugbal, and that there could be any Kayach from the Nefesh. Nefesh Kirchis is not a dogma for Ein Sof Amitis.
Then this case is the way the ready scholars mitzvah.
Keres HaKlulim.
Yeah. So
Keres HaKlulim is, we're not dealing with Pshitas in Keres HaKlulim. We're talking about the Tzir, the way Tzir stems in the Nefesh. We're not speaking about Pshitas and Nefesh. Nefesh HaKlulim is speaking about Pshitas and Nefesh, not Tzir.
You're saying that Atzilus
Does Dr. Hachodesh does. So he's saying over here that it's a Chiddush, that Atzilus doesn't only express Chachma v'Chesed, it expresses the Blikvel of Elokus, which is nice of the Chachma v'Chesed. So let's say through the Keiches will be this Gala, and not just Seichel, but the Nefesh, which is not limited in Seichel, which is nice of the Seichel. That's a Chiddush. Adam Katan is the Pchina Blikvel, verstehe ich. Oh, that's a Yeshma Ein Mamish.
So it's Yeshma Ein Mamish, but what's the Shachis to Mitzvah?
It's
expressed as Blik Vul.
It's after Tzimtzum. It's Blik Vul the way it relates to Elam. It's not the Midas of Blik Vul.
Well, the Nekuda is Blik Vul. How does that have a Shachis to before?
Who said that's Shachas before? It's a new
doesn't
Indian.
have a Shachis.
That's true. There was a Tzimtzum. There's a Tzilus.
It's not like Atzilus. Atzilus is Shachis to both sides.
No, it says Yesh Ma'ayin. Du hörst nicht. Atzilus Yesh Ma'ayin the Gabein Sof. Ak is Yesh Ma'ayin. It says in the Chodesh. Yesh Ma'ayin. What's different?
Different, right? Than Atzilus.
No, it's not different. Ak is the same. It's Yesh Ma'ayin. There's no Nekuda Adam. Good. Say it. Say it. According to the way it says here, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Say it. But der Nekuda ist verstandig.
when you say that big come from the Nefesh.
I'm not saying Blik Volkech. I'm saying is, he says, I'm just touching this where he says, Ak Nikra Er Kloli, Shekelo Kol HaShalshus Mereish Kadag and Sev Kadag M'chinas HaShva Mamish. What does it mean that it's killed the whole Seder Shalshalus and everything is equal the way they are in Ak? If you're speaking about Seichel Midis, Keres, which we speak about Chacham and Chesed are two different inyanim. You have the way they are mushish in the highest darga, but they're always two separate things. Chacham is Chacham and Chesed is Chesed. When they say that Chacham and Chesed are b'ashva mamish, that's when you see what there's a klal, which this klal is neisa Chacham and Chesed. There's one klal, and this one klal contains equally Chacham and Chesed. How's it shaykh? One klal, which is kelabot, because this nekuda is not mugder, is not limited to this form or that form. If you're not limited, you have any form. So then, if the reason why you are contained in is because you're not limited to a specific form, then you're kelal all forms b'ashva. You understand what I'm saying? He says, well, how are they b'ashva mamish? Because the fact that Adam Kadmon is kelal, the whole Seder Shtalshalos, is because it's not limited to a distinct form of Seder Shtalshalos. So it's not confined to a specific type of tzir. So Meir contains any tzir. So the same nekuda is a makar for any tzir. And so Ak is not the nekuda of Adam Kadmon is not stam the chetimtze to be kelal any tzir. It's the pshittis, the way the pshittis is nice, the whole Seder Shtalshalos. Aderech like the nefesh is a pschinas pshittis, that it's nice keiches, it's not mugbal in a specific keich. And mitzad the fact that it's not mugbal, there could be any keich. There's the Adam Kadmon is kaviyachol the makar klali for the whole Mitzvah Seilemis. So it's the blig v'lev elukus, the way it's nizgale, that it's nice the whole Mitzvah of Seder Shtalshalos. Even klali, I'm saying that. The Nekudas Advarim is that according to the first beer that he says, there's Ein Seif and there is Gvul, Metzias. I'm saying there's in basic language. There is the Gdarim of Welt, and what's considered a Maila Legabi Welt. Chachme, Chesed, Gvura, Teferes, Ava, Yira. There's what's considered qualities and inyanim which express greatness in the Musagim of Elohim Hazar. Then you have Pshittas, Ein Sof. Ein Sof is higher than Al Musagim. Ein Sof is this Mashavat Tisabit. You don't know what Ein, he's not being moved. Pshittas higher than Sir. So Pashtas, Gvulam, Gvul is no comparison at all. The Mol stated at Tzilis that in the Gvul of Atzilis says expressed Ein Sof. So the first beer is we're not dealing with Hamidas Ein Sof. We're dealing with Ein Sof the way Lechatchilit relates to Mitzias. It's a darga of Ein Sof which is already B'chinas Ak, which after there was Neshava already the Musig of Mitzias. And this is the Eshte beer. And then the next, and Mashik the Gabe Mitas Ein Sof tak is Yesh Ma'ayin Mamish, the Hachodesh Mamish. And then when he continues is that Atzilis does express the Midas Ein Sof. But that's what we're gonna have to see. Midas Ein Sof means Ein Sof the way Ein Sof is before being a Makkah for Mitzias. Das geht sein the Damni Mishleim. Wir sollen gehen weiter ein bisschen zu because till now we explained we're mamish middle of the Indian, but I don't want to stam as a rush through it. It's not good to stam as a rush through because there's a nekuda here that's good. It's one beer. There's the Indian who is just first he explains the etzem Indian that Atzilus is a damal elitar, and he gives a couple of aces over here in the Mailovak. The Adam Kadmon is not just Sir, but it's B'chinas Ein Sof Bashal. And it's the Nekud of Ein Sof, the way he's nice to the whole Indian Mitzvah. That's you have all the elements Bashva. That's what he brings here. Now, when you speak about if something is Chidush Yesh Ma'ayin, it's a new thing, or it's Gilei Helam, so you have, there's one difference is, you say if Vas breaks Chares, if Atzilus is an expression of Ein Sof, it's an expression of Ak, or it's something, a distinct new entity like Gabiak. It has no erech like Gabiak. The question is, what's the Eifan Amshacha from Adam Kadmon to Atzilus? When the makar is, when the yachas of the thing which comes from the makar to the makar is that the dobra which is nishavim in a makar has no erech to the makar, then the Eifan Eishavas is through a tzimtzum and through a parsa, he says. Mashigam, when it's Gilei Helam, you don't need a parsa. It's one Hemshech. So that's where Frek, l'chor the Amshacha within Ak and Atzilus, you have a parsa. So that's the chor Rai that Atzilus is the Nekud of Chidush. So that's the Gabiak. That's the his veininu. Okay, we'll just say Amshacha by Amshacha by Gidum Chinas Akol Adei Tzimtzum v'Gam Adei Parsa. Of course, if the Rabbi B'Tchilasi Poris Kamei Chad Parsa. Pinish B'Tz Chaim Shar Nekudim Shel Chinas Parsa the Ak that Tzimtzum Niach Parsa. There's a Tzimtzum Rish and then there's the after the Ak there's the Parsa. Ime isn't that Tzimtzum so the Kerla Ma'ayin Kol Dem Tzimtzum the Ak Tzimtzum the Insof. The Tzimtzum of Ak is Chinas Miuter. Avolish Mishtana Adei Zel. Chinas Parsa is Aver Mishtana. Mishkos Mishan. So does Vesemir that Tzimtzum is not machayev that the mitzias which is nimshach al acharat tzimtzum is a davar chodesh, because tzimtzum it's the same mohus, but it's more ba'efim mitzumtzum yes. You say a rabbi regular doing, the rabbi is being masber seichot talmid, so the rabbi is masber the seichot to bal seichot which is lower than the level of the rab. but he doesn't have to give him. He explains it. Doesn't explain them the whole emek of the seichel. He explains them a limited version of the asvar of the inyan. But he's being masber in this inyan. This inyan now with a full depth, with a little bit more bam chosher, a little bit more being masber. So it's tzimtzum. It's just he's being mitzamtzum. He's not giving him out the whole emek inyan, but it's the same inyan. It's the same seichel. It's the same svar. Now with a whole depth. That's tzimtzum. Masha'inke in parsa is already enough shemis ava early b'shtan. The dogma chassidus is parsa is the Rav is being masber a seichel through a mashal. When do you have to be masber a seichel through a mashal? When do you have to say a mashal? When is it not enough to explain the inyan itself? You have to bring a mashal. So Chassidus explains it is if you have the dogma is you have a mashal if you're explaining an idea to someone. So and that person is able to understand an idea. Is able to understand the concept. So you can't understand the whole depth of the concept, or you can't right away give him the whole depth. You give him in stages. That's a tzimtzum. So you lower down a little bit that it shouldn't right away express the whole depth of the concept. When you need a mashal, if you're explaining something to a child, and he's not in tune to the world of concepts. So you want to explain. You say called a parish, merubah parish. So someone is already accustomed to ideas and the concepts. You can tell them that there's an idea of majority and majority overrides or is stronger than minority. When you're speaking to a kid, doesn't understand the musig of majority, doesn't understand musag, concepts in itself. You have to be mamchashim in a mitzvah of a thing. This is 9, there's 9 red and 1 yellow. So if you find one somewhere else, where do you think it comes from? The musig of reiv, you have to show him an amchosha of a mitzvah. So that's when you're being masber seichel to a darga, which is not a keli to seichel. You have to explain the concept through speaking about a mitzvah, not an idea. You have to leave a little bit the world of ideas and to give over the concept through a ma'aseh, through a mitzvah, which is already davar, which is zar to say, not an idea, not a concept in a lower level. To speak about it as a ma'aseh. There's 6 boxes here, 3 red, and you have to bring it out through a ma'aseh. So Parsa brings out they're being masber to Inyan to Madrega, which is on a different level of Gamri than the Inyan itself. So you can't just explain this idea, this same mahus in a lower way. You have to transmit the Inyan through a lavush, which is sholei be'erach the Inyan itself. So that's the Nakud of Chodesh. Gidei Hela means that we're dealing with he brings a mashal before, like al derech baruch kainech, that it's the same mahus. Mahus is in a higher eifin or a lower eifin, but we're dealing with the same mahus, the same Nakudah. Parsa, when the air has to go through a kisui, means that it's not the same. The air has to go through to be transformed, that it should be nizgabel through something which is from a lower caliber than the dark of the air itself. So that's the chodesh nishtin ganzen in the Nakud of Gilei Helam. It's already more daimet yesh ma'ayin. That the darga of Atzilis, if it has to go through a mashal, if Ak has to go through a mashal in order for the idea of actually be expressed in Atzilis, that means that the idea, the way it's expressed in Atzilis, is not the same mahus as an Ak. It's the idea, the way it comes through a lower world, a different caliber of Gamri. Like the concept being explained through a story. So we have to be left a little bit the world of concept and ideas. We have to bring it out through a stama as a techna shemaisa.
There's also a parsha by Insef Tiak.
We'll see later. Insef it's Tzimtzum Rishon. That's a siluk, the Gamri. From Tinayin Saf and there's a Tzimtzum Rishon. That's a different name. So that's the you see he says Mvur Beitz Chaim Shom. In an apartment that Yuchal Gam Abriya leKabbalah. Avshul Atzilis Maspik hat Tzimtzum Lovat Yuchal leKabbalah. Can I hear by the Me'ak Atzilis? Who's Edi Mishtan there? So you see the Rebbe Shabbat a kaish. How could you say that it says is Adam Olel into Ak? The pearl there's a parsa. And a parsa means a Misava Edi Mishtan. So then Zokter, the parsa is for the sake of Bria. Since one of the jobs, let's say, of Atzilis is to be mamshech there to Bria, in order for Bria to be Mekabel there, it has to be a parsa. But for Atzilis itself, you don't need to have a parsa. So B'meila Gabi Atzilis, there's no shim. So in the Lashon, the way that it says in the Maimer is, the air goes through a parsa. Why is there no shim? If the air goes through a kisui, so then the air is mishtan. But the Atzilis doesn't need this kisui. Okay, that's the Mishayla. Maybe, but just the way he says it here, the Mashmah says, you have, let's say, a Rav being masber a svara to 2 Talmidim. One Talmud doesn't need a mashal. He understands the idea directly. One Talmud needs a mashal. So the Rav is going to say the svara l'chatchila through a mashal. So the Talmud that could only be mekabel in through a mashal, so he doesn't get the direct reichkeit of the concept. He gets it through the shini of the mashal. Mashing the Talmud that could understand directly the Indian, Even though he hears the mashal is not mailam legabi him, because he could be sensitive to the topic even without the ball of the mashal. So the fact that the Rav said a mashal for one Talmud, that's the way he says it here. He says even though the parse is before Atzilus, but the Atzilus doesn't need a parse. It's mastic even at Tzimtzum. Atzilus is keli to be margish the guf, the etzem eir of Ak. Even though there's a parse, it's not a mailam master for Atzilus. That's the way he says it. But the question is, so why do you need a parse before Atzilus? Like is shpeter. Okay, maybe we'll speak about a word thing in them. Huh? So I should speak about it now. It's not a psagan salang in you.
Why wouldn't we still?
Yeah, so exactly.
Why don't we still need a person? There is a significant change between Ak and Atzilus.
There is another
significant difference between Ak and Atzilus.
Yeah, but he's saying the parse is not Atzilus. One of the nekudas why there was havas elam Atzilus is to be a mamutzet elam abriya. Atzilus is not a level for itself. The kavana why there was the Atzilus of elam Atzilus was for the sake of being a mamutzet and to be a marker for briya. In order for Atzilus to be, if it would be without a parsa, then Atzilus itself would be in its distinct darga. Atzilus would be Atzilus, but it wouldn't have the ability to be a marker for briya. In order for Atzilus to be a marker for briya, it has to go through a parsa. But the parsa is not for the sake of Atzilus. It's in order for Atzilus to be a marker for briya.
But even Atzilus, you're explaining, is very different. Is very limited relative to Ak.
Yeah.
So why don't we need parsa?
He says, but that's what he's being masber the whole time. He's saying that it's Gilei Helen. That's exactly
Why is this simple enough?
He said it.
He's saying that it's not Atzilus is the same horse in a lower ether. It's not a chiddush. It's not a new thing. That's what he's being masber. He's being masber that Atzilus is not be'ein arech ta'ak. It's the same inyan, more b'tzumtzum. That's the ret of that. The shaila is, so why is there a parsa? So he said the parsa is not for the sake of Atzilus. Since Atzilus' job kaviyach is to be a maggah for biyah, in order for Atzilus to be a maggah for biyah, it has to go through a parsa. Atzilus himself is a keli for elokus is higher than biyah. But in order for Atzilus to be mashpia, to biyah, so you have someone. For him himself, for his level, he doesn't need to have this. But since he has to convey this message to a lower level, therefore he has to go through a parsa. But what's the bar? Let him make the parsa. What does he have to? I'm saying that's the nekuda generally is even before. You say in order to be mashpia something, let's say someone's a keli to the Indian commercial. But in order for it to be mashpia something through a mashal, if Atzilus would have the Indian the way it is with Tarasei, then he wouldn't able to. Maybe we'll speak about it next week. This is a vart. It's a little bit of a vart. Maybe then paragraph we could end. I'll just say one vart next week, just when we get to this vart. I'm not going to get that. Next week, the Morgan is. Azad gabi action because other the bria. She says shaykhis la Atzilus shnika klali. Oh, so he says Ak has a shaykhis Atzilus. Shnika klali v'arich shala elements. It's like the arich shala. This is arich is pnas hakeser. Pnas hakeser is the makif of velikus, the bligvo. Adarich like Ratzin. Ratzin is not the tzir of the nevish. Ratzin is the pshitas nevish. But it's the arich, the way it relates to elements. It's the pchinas habligvo, which is noise all the mitzias elements. So it's the bligvo, the way it relates that it's not limited to the specific form of the mitzias elements. That's actually Mela has a shay. Avalik b'chinas eretz of shel ma'ala miyak. That's the pchinis avak. Okay, that's connected to the argo before. So nikra chachma yesh mayin. V'gam adam kadven ikabri legam medrin. Legabi that mitzvah ein sof, the whole musig of mitzias is a chiddush gomer legabi that in and it has no it's a heistish kinzach. So you can't even say this idea that it's bligvo is expressed in it's unlimited. Therefore, any mitzias can come. Legabi this true musig of ein sof, it's a mitzvah ein sof. The whole musig of mitzias doesn't exist. Yeah, I'm just saying a dogma. That Rebbe says that it's a deeper collection. The collection of one dibur legabi keichat dibur is a different type of collection than the collection of dibur legabi say. Because by the Ace says by dibur the collection is that it's only one. It's limited. Mashik and the keich is unlimited. And here the collection is that its quality is nothing. The zach is garnished, not that it's limited. The etzem inin is not a ma'ila. It's not a mitzias. Yeah, that's not dogma.
It's the same thing as one shtus.
It's not the same. We're saying a dogma. It's not. No, that's some word of the rabbing mashpia. It's a word like this that you see, just a dogma b'amri. You say l'mashal someone. You see l'mashal someone. You have to say some a certain mashpia or whatever mashpia or a certain malamed or whatever it is. So there's a nikas achetzeinim. It says the Rebbe I don't know, he plays too much jokes or something, so the kids will think that that litzanis is in kedusha, let's say. So the Rebbe never thought such a thing. He never has such a thought in his mind that he's doing it just to bring simcha, let's say. But there could be a nikas achetzeinim. Someone's going to think that tzchaik is in kedusha. You say even though in order for a certain anhaga to bring a nikas achetzeinim, there has to be a certain nekuda in the thing which was guiding him to make such a mistake. If the Rav would be fully serious and there would be no nekuda of it wouldn't be able to make such a nikas achetzeinim that there was hagam. So what I'm saying is even though the Elyon himself is mufshit from the haksham of the tartan, but in order for Atzilus to be a mocker, to be mashpia to the Metzias Abriya, you can't be a mashpia and a mocker for something if the Atzilus would be totally mufshit from the whole musig of Metzias, then he wouldn't be able to be mashpia to a world of Metzias. He wouldn't be able to relate to a world of Metzias. But the fact that he's able to relate to be mashpia to a world of Metzias, that means that the musig of Metzias is not agefek by him. And for that he has to go through a parsa. The musig of not seichel, he has to be aware of a Metzias which is not seichel, and is able to handle it. If Atzilus himself is not that, Atzilus himself is a lukus mamish. But if Atzilus wouldn't go through a parsa, he wouldn't be able to handle not a lukus. A different musik of a parsa. As I'm certain. Okay, I should masbir it a little bit more next week. This nekuda. That's Keres HaKolim is Gvol the way it's been Keri Arishin. Not Bli Gvol the way it's Misbata, that is not limited in a specific Gvol. That's Gvul itself. That's Sheresh of Gvul. Yeah, Tzilus, Akudim, that's Keres HaKolim is called Keres HaKolim. Here, Ak is not Gvul in its original Sheresh. It's the Bli Gvul the way it's Misbata that is not Mugbul in a certain Gvul. That means the Gvul is in. To say that in Bas Gitzachares, the Bli Gvul that is not Mugbul specific Gvul, you have to already say that Gvul is an Inyan. Because if his Gvul is nothing, so the Bli Gvul can be expressed in the fact that his Kedel is nice to any Gvul. So Ak is Bli Gvul. But it's Bli Gvul when it's already in a darga where the musik of Gvul is already a Metzias. And therefore you could say that in Bas Bashteit the Bli Gvul, that he is not Mug with any form of Gvul. But first you have to say, but in order to say that, that's in Gvul has to be an Inyan. That's even closely, that's the... Okay, well, Shinzen, they have learned again the Gemaimer. Okay, so we'll try to... Yeah, yes, the Bli Gvul they released. I'm just saying this is just saying some oasis of Bislam Ayin Zayn. I'm not saying. You will see later what as was it Moses. You're saying from Claudia now. He goes through it later.
Two levels of Bli Gvul.
That's what I'm saying. He's saying I'm meant to say inside. Ak and Ak. We'll see by Hemshech.
I'm saying like even from the Tanya, how does that explain so you explained how
Dibur Machshava, the different darkness. There's different biurim. Yeah, there needs beer. Each one needs beer. Yeah, in details, each one needs beer. But that's already, I'm saying. Qatar has four in none of there. Yeah, that needs beer, each one. Yeah. Say there's.
is this setup okay? So where is that?